MGTOW, IBMOR Warrior. Today we're going to talk about how having children is selfish. Having children is selfish. Now, y'all know I don't script these videos, so I might be all over the place, but I'm going to attempt to give you some reasons why having children is selfish, although I don't have them listed. But I came to this epiphany recently. I was watching another Periscope stream from Daylight, and he was just talking about how essentially this world is a prison. In general, this life is not something that's pleasant. We're all essentially slaves on this planet. Keep it a buck with you. We're all essentially slaves on this planet. On a surface level, most of us are wage slaves. You know what I'm saying? Debt slaves. You got some people that's incarcerated. That's jail slaves. But in general, as a planet, we are enslaved. And who knows if it is at the behest of the Nephilim, the Anunnaki, or some extraterrestrial beings. Who knows? But humanity, we're all enslaved on this planet. And to live in this existence is to suffer. In this existence, to live is to suffer. So why the fuck would I want to bring my progeny into this mess? I mean, really think about this. You know this world ain't shit. You know that if you have a child, they're going to endure much suffering despite however much you try to protect them. You know that your child is highly likely to become a wage slave. You know that your child is going to experience heartbreak and heartache, grief, pain, suffering, and eventual death. Why would you bring your offspring, your progeny, into this hell? Because the Christians try to scare niggas into compliance by saying you're going to hell, but not realizing that this is already hell that we live in, God damn it. Now, back in the primitive days, motherfuckers had kids mainly because they was horny. And a lot of people have kids for the same reason today, which we're going to talk about. But also to take care of them when they got old. But even back then, when niggas was horny, even back in the ancient times, niggas understood, number one, motherfuckers knew how to make condoms out of animal skins and all kind of crazy shit. Look it up, nigga, it's true. But, I personally am not a fan of condoms, so I'm going to use the withdrawal method approach here. Niggas knew how to pull out back then, okay? If you read your Bible, because I done told y'all about my teenage experience, how I spent a lot of time in church, and I also went to a Catholic school. So between my Baptist church and my Catholic school, I read a lot of the Bible. Okay? If you read in the Bible, there was a character named Onan, I believe. Okay? And Onan essentially got in trouble by God because, you know what I'm saying, the nigga was pulling out, you know what I'm saying? The nigga was like, fuck that. I'm gonna pull out and you know what I'm saying, give a bitch a money shot. You know what I'm saying? It's in the Bible, nigga. Look it up. It's in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So coitus interruptus has been a thing since the beginning of time. So niggas knew how to pull out and not have a baby when they didn't want to. Okay? And I don't understand why niggas nowadays don't pull the fuck out. I really don't understand it. You know, when I was still fucking with bitches real heavy, I was the king of pulling out, nigga. I was the king of pulling out. When I was in my previous relationship, you know, my girl was on the pill and I had an alarm set on my phone every night to make the bitch take the pill. But even then, I still didn't trust the bitch. Even then, I still pulled out about 95% of the time. I still whipped that shit out and pulled it out. You know what I'm saying? Niggas gotta learn to paint pictures out here instead of nutting in these bitches all willy-nilly. I don't understand why niggas feel the need to nut in these bitches. I really don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? These unplanned pregnancies are the worst. I mean, at least motherfuckers who's married and they planned a baby, that's one thing. Y'all motherfuckers are selfish too, and I'm gonna get to y'all ass. But the people who just willy-nilly just fuck and don't give a fuck if a baby pops out, y'all motherfuckers ain't shit. And that's the vast majority of the goddamn black community. You know what I mean? I gotta talk about you niggas. First of all, I am the product of such a conception. Okay? I was a result of an out of wedlock pregnancy. Okay? And, you know, like every child, you know, I didn't ask to be here. But the thing is, a lot of metaphysical thinkers and spiritual thinkers do believe that you as a spirit did choose to come here. You know what I'm saying? Which is possible. Maybe I as a spirit, maybe I chose to come here. Maybe I thought that I could change this shit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I really felt like I could change this shit. And I was like, you know, all right, let's go. Who knows? But, you know what I'm saying? Needless, you know, whatever. I came to this planet, you feel me? Through an out of wedlock birth because, you know what I'm saying? My parents was just fucking. And they gave a fuck about the results. You know what I'm saying? And while I can't claim to have the worst childhood, you know, my childhood was definitely adversely affected by those choices that my parents made. And ever since I was a child, I said to myself that when I grew up, I would have a family, I would have a wife, I would have a child, I would have children, and I would do things differently than how my parents did them. And I would right their wrongs, I would correct their mistakes. I thought this way until very, very recently. But guess what? So does everyone else. And no matter how much you try to protect your child or how much you try to teach your child, they will still be beholden to the shittiness of this world. I always wanted a boy so that I could teach him to right the wrongs that I did in my adolescence, childhood, and young adulthood. You know, but really thinking about it logically, why the fuck would I want to bring another male into this fucking misandrist society? So he can come into this fucking world and suffer. Why the fuck would I want to do that? And I always say, if I had a daughter, I would teach her the game. You know what I'm saying? I would teach her how to avoid the bad niggas. You know what I'm saying? And I would teach her to be a good wife. I would teach her to be a good mother and teach her all the things that these bitches was never taught. But guess what? Female nature is still female nature. And a bitch is still a bitch. Even if it is my future so-called daughter. And that that brings me to you motherfuckers, you married motherfuckers who plan your children. Although y'all are not as bad as the raggedy motherfuckers who do it just out of being horny. Y'all are not bad as them. But the issue I have with y'all motherfuckers is that y'all basically have kids because it's some shit that y'all want to do, as if you're going to fucking PetSmart and picking out a pet. You know what I'm saying? You motherfuckers, treat your kids like y'all treat your dog, and some of you motherfuckers treat your dog better than the goddamn kid. And the kid is something for you to fucking show off. Like a motherfucking Tiffany's bracelet or some shit. Shit is disgusting. Not to mention that having children is gonna add more people to this already fucked up economy. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna add more people out here just fucking around and bumping into each other and not knowing what the fuck is going on. Now, motherfuckers who adopt, I respect y'all. I respect people who adopt, because at least you're taking away a little bit of the suffering of a motherfucker who's here and you know what I'm saying, through no fault of their own really, and you're taking away a little of their suffering. So I respect that. But fuck having kids. You know, I learned a new word recently, antinatalism. You know what I'm saying? I'm a newly found antinatalist. This is after a long history of my life of being a very staunch natalist. From my childhood until very recently, I was a very staunch natalist. But once again, go back to the video where I talked about information which contradicts your worldview and being open to it. Anytime I'm confronted with truth, I don't hold on to my old ideologies. This world is a fucking prison. This world is fucking hell on earth. Okay? And there's no fucking way that I'm going to bring forth my progeny into this fucking mess. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way I'm bringing another soul into this fucking hell. So having children is selfish. Because 9 times out of 10, they're just going to become another wage slave. They're just going to become another debt slave. They're just going to become another depressed fucking person, popping pills, drinking, smoking, eating shit food, and then fucking dying. Oh, but MGTOW Warrior, then the human race is going to go extinct. Good. Because we are a fucking slave race. We are a fucking slave planet. Y'all motherfuckers need to wake up. And wherever I came from as a spirit, I hope it was a place much better than this shit. And I hope and pray I return there after I leave this motherfucker. And I gotta get started on a fucking will and a living trust too, so that I can have my proper disposal of my remains, because the whole embalming process and all that shit, I think that's the whole process to lock your ass down here in this fucking prison too. The way the whole embalming process that they do now, I think that's the way to fucking lock you down here as a spirit. But that's a whole other video. But anyway, I'm gonna let it go here. This is MGTOW Warrior. I'm out this bitch.